So people have asked me, really, what's Runaway Home about? Well, in essence, it's about hope. I think that's the overall desire line for every character inside the TV series, the musical, the feature film. Everyone has this hopeful attitude that tomorrow is going to be better, because most of the characters are facing such trauma and angst, dealing with things they can't forgive themselves for, being in traumatic events that others have forced upon them, decisions they've had to make. And so even between TV series, feature film, musical, that would be the one underlying desire line, I think, for every single character, is that there's hope, even in the midst of absolute despair.
I think there's always something that you can take away from it. I know in a lot of film today and movies and things, you kind of walk away and you're like, well, that was good, but I'm not really going to tell my mom about it because, there was this or that in it. But I think in all of these things, there's always something you can take away, and just really good message that it sends out. I think that that's not really prominent today. So it's really cool that any of these things, the musical, the movie, anything, you could take your mom to it and she'd be like, oh, well, that's good because it's teaching this or it's teaching that. I think that's probably one of the best things that this whole franchise has going for it.
For episode 1, the pilot episode, we would meet the preacher and Steve and Aaliyah for the first time, and of course Father Liam, who is the priest there at the small Catholic Church of St. Michael's. But one interesting thing I think about Runaway Home is you never really know the full backstory to Aaliyah or Steve, the preacher. All throughout the entire 13 episodes, it leads up to the final episode for season 1 that I'm calling Broken Angel, and it's a huge cliffhanger at the end of the season 1. And then at that moment, then I see a feature film on the screens across America that's called A Fix, that tells the story of Piper and Katie and how she came to run away. And then as season 2 opens in the fall of that following year, you would have Piper entering season 2 of the TV series. And of course, Katie, who was featured in the film, would then appear in episode 10 of season 2, thus merging all 3 together. That's film and television together. But then you have episodes 10 and 11, which is the story of Runaway Home, the musical, that we've been workshopping for the past several years. I was very fortunate to have Judy Rodman out of Nashville. She's an award-winning composer, artist, lyricist, singer, and she came through and to put the music that I was looking for into the show. I had written a couple of songs for the show initially, sometime late 90s, early part of 2000, but I never could find the right composer that I really wanted to take over and take the score over. And Judy was down at our studio doing a vocal workshop, and when she finished, I gave her the lyrics to a song called Little Girl Lost. And she took that home with her and said she would look at it, and a few days later she called me and played the song over the phone, and it was quite an experience because it was the tune basically I've been hearing in my head.
Little girl lost, are you still
And so
inside
my thought
me?
is that then you'd have a cast for the musical itself that could tour the country. That would then be the characters people are watching on television on the stage, and of course hit major cities. Let it tour. Whether it goes on to Broadway or not, it might have a wonderful life then in regional theater, community theater, high school theater, because kids, teenagers, adults love the music.
Light a candle, light a candle, light a candle for me.
The other day, someone asked me, after soon to be 15 years of working on Runaway Home, from the inception of the character of Piper all the way through now to writing a pilot and hopefully developing a TV series for this project. What if I've done all of this for nothing? Well, if that's it, that's it. I think it's been an incredible journey. It's definitely made me a better writer. I've had some incredible experiences, but I'm just continually amazed by when people watch the musical, read the scripts, or watch the short film, you realize you've touched lives. We've had people very close and very dear to us that we know we've touched their lives. We know we've helped them to deal with something in their past that was very traumatic that they've never told anyone about. But somehow this helped them to deal with it and helped them to heal. And I have to look at it like this. If nothing else happens, we've helped so many people just right here, all the audiences that have seen the musical and watched the short film. If this were to go larger, to a nationwide scale, I think that'd be a good representation of that we're not just doing a show that could be a tremendous financial success, but also a very moral success for people all around our country.